broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Yesterday, the National Elections Commission of Liberia announced the result of the runoff elections, with Mr. or Senator George Weah being elected the president and the sitting vice president, Mr. Joseph Boakai, being defeated in the elections. Vice President Boakai has already congratulated the president-elect George Weah and conceded to the election results. To discuss this, I have invited Mrs. Alice Welle Momba, that is the current president of the Refugee Association of the United States of America. She's also a political analyst. She's a fiction writer and also a nurse, a medical practitioner. Mrs. Momba, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much for having me.
We also want to invite all of you watching us by television, through Facebook or YouTube. We want to say be part of the discussion. We want to dissect the Liberian elections, what went on. We have a winner and we have someone who did not win. We want to be able to analyze why people voted the way they did. Who are the voters? Why did Mr. Weah win the election? Why did VP Boakai lose? We also want to see who the voters are and why they voted the way they did. So we're going to be breaking all that down, and I invite all of you to tune in and be part of the conversation. To join the conversation, you can call our studio number or post your comments on Facebook Live, and we will be going into it. The elections are being announced, and Mr. Weah won the election with a bigger margin, 61%, and then Vice President Joseph Boakai with 38%. That's a huge margin.
Yeah.
Alice, welcome. And what just happened?
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise. We know as Liberians where we come from and what is happening in Liberia. So everything that happens in Liberia, it will have a result that is produced. And this is the beginning. The voting bloc in Liberia has changed, depending on the circumstances that are prevailing. So, George Weah is a Liberian star. We all know that. Going against the incumbent is not easy. But if you look at a voting bloc, especially the age group that voted, you know very well that they are 100% going to go for Weah. They look at him as their own, somebody who relates to them, somebody who's been where they've been or where they are now. And looking at his story, where he came from rags to riches, who wouldn't want to follow the example? If you look at Weah and you are from the southeast or northwest or wherever, and you know your situation is downtrodden, you come from the masses of the people, you will go for Weah because you think that, well, I want to follow his example. And basically, most of the people that voted, now out of them, most of them look at him as a role model.
You talk about the age group. From the total registrants, the total eligible voters that voted in the October 10 elections, we have 2,183,629 eligible voters. Of those, we have 49% females, that is 1,064,274, and we have males 1,119,355 males. That represent 51%. Of that, the turnout for the October 10th election was 75%. It came down when it came to the runoff elections, say 65% or so. We also have in the elections those that register to vote. The 18-year-old account for 108,440 votes. That's a big number of people turning 18 going to vote. Yeah. And I say that because you mentioned about the age we also see that the average age of the voter is 35 years old. That age group. So if you, it can also be broken down. We have from 18 to 22 years of age, 21%. From 23 to 27 years of age, 16%. From 28 to 32, 15%. From 33 to 37, 12%. From 38 to 42, 10%. So you see that from 18 years of age to 42 make up 74% of the voters. That voters, that population, that demographic, from what you're saying, favor George Weah.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, as they go up, you find a decline. So from 18 to 22, you see a huge number. And then going forward, going to 50, you see the numbers dropping. Going to 60, you got like 4% and, or less.
Yeah.
And so George Weah is somebody, when you look at the voting black, as I said from the beginning, boys, let's take for example boys in Liberia. Every boy must have gone through the football field. It is they look at football as a pastime that everybody, do just to keep happiness around. Even during the war, you had, at some point, George Weah took the national team during the war outside Liberia to play. There was a joy during that period. People were happy. They forgot for a minute that there was war going on. And so it united at that moment the country. And so these boys or group of people you see, they look at who George Weah is and what they can learn from him and how they want to be part of him to share his story.
Wow. And while we're talking, I think we had the result up, and I want can you put that up again? You see that, let's look at the margin and the different counties and how much the percent. You can see that this was, as Obama put it, shellacking. This was a big, victory.
Right.
With 100% of the vote in, you see that George Weah won every county except for Lofa.
Yeah. Every
county. So, and with even bigger margin, I look at Bomé with 57%, Bong 64%, Bapolu 58%, and all of it, 74% for Grand Bassa. In recent terms, there is nobody that had won election this way.
Yeah.
All 15 counties except for one. Why is that?
Well, first of all, I'll start with Lofa. Traditionally, most people from Lofa, they kind of support each other, even in extreme situations. And so, Boakai being somebody from Lofa, I think it was the obligation of the Lofa people to support him the way they did. And I really applaud them. And so, winning Lofa County and the rest of the Liberia going to George Weah, I think basically it came from the fact that people decided to support him because at some point there were a lot of sympathy. People felt like the president of Liberia betrayed him. And if the president can betray him, then we that own him, we cannot leave him like that. We have to rally around him.
Meaning Joseph Boakai?
Joseph Boakai.
Okay.
So his people rally around him as a means of comforting him. That's why we see the way people voted in Lofa. Now, for the rest of Liberia, also you think that there is a message. Things are beginning to change because usually we see people not considering others because they think, well, they come from a small county, they don't have the number, and so we're going to do this based on the numbers. For example, the Southeast, these are forgotten people. At some point, we can say that. At some point, some of them said they were not going to participate in the elections. And we talk to them, well, you have to vote because it's your right. And through your ballot, you can express your dissatisfaction. And so they went to the polls. So it seems like because they don't have the numbers in the county, probably they voted on regional level. Like, well, we are, for example, the choir group. Since we cannot be identified in our own counties, then wherever we are, we have to support our.
Yeah, so this county, and you made mention of the Southeast, that basically they became the forgotten people. And so this time, and they are expressing that against the government. So they voted for George Weah as a form of protest against the incumbent.
Definitely. Most of them voted as a means of protesting, especially when they come to the roads condition that they've been crying about. Many times they have protested about the roads. If you look on the Facebook, you look to other places, you will find out that people were basically protesting that they were not important in Liberia. They were cut off from the rest of the country. And so as a means of expressing that, they have to translate that in the way they cast their ballot, with the hope that the next person will listen this time.
All right. Hello, caller, your name and where you calling from? We got a caller on the phone.
Yeah, I'm calling from Massachusetts, actually. My name is William.
William.
Yes.
William, go ahead. Your comments. We are discussing the election. The election results where Judge Weah has won the country overwhelmingly. He has won all the counties except for Lofa, beating Vice President Joseph Boakai with a wide margin.
Yes.
Your comment or your analysis of what happened?
I think it's a very good thing for the country. The sad thing is that I hope George Weah will think thoroughly in terms of putting together his cabinet. I think the best thing to do is to think about weeding out those criminals in our country that have tried to mortgage our resources. The election has given Liberia a new image, meaning that we are getting matured in terms of democracy. But he needs all of us from abroad. George needs all Liberians, from America, Australia, Canada, Europe, everywhere the Liberians are technocrats. We have a brain drain, and that brain drain is for Liberians home to encourage Liberians abroad to come home. Enough of that discrimination, y'all come and take our job and all this stuff needs to stop. We need to think about Liberians abroad. Our children here are well educated, just like the Nigerians and Ghanaians, children abroad going home to participate in building their country. All of us need to be given chance to go home. Our children, people in the diaspora, Liberians everywhere should be encouraged to come home. George Weah should look at the people that he's going to be appointed and weed out those that are not competent to serve the country. This country is backward. It's the most backward country in West Africa. We need to start thinking about bringing people home that can build a nation. Moving away from only Monrovia, Broad Street, Robertsfield Highway, build roads throughout the country. Our focus should be something tangible that we can see as a success regime, administration. George Weah, I think, is God sent. This is the first native Liberian elected with a wide margin. Almost the whole country is behind him. So now he needs to sit down and evaluate how he's going to govern.
Thank you.
So I think this is the only thing I can say. I think that we are happy that at least George Weah is the new president, and we all need to give him our support.
Thank you you so much. Thank you so much, William, for joining the conversation.
You're welcome.
Thank you. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the Liberian elections. George Weah is now our new president, and this current vice president lost the election. And we are discussing why it happened, how people voted, and what should the new president be doing now to first bring the country together and also to forge ahead and build a better Liberia for all people. And having in studio Mrs. Alice Welle Moba. She's the sitting president of the River G National Association in the Americas. She's also a community activist, a fiction writer, and a political analyst. Mrs. Moba, you listed with this county, you made mention of the Southeast. Now we see that other counties, like especially Nimba County, probably due to the Prince Johnson factor, and Grand Bassa County, Bombay County, all these counties going for George Weah. I want you to comment on that, why people voting this way.
Well, you have Senator Prince Johnson. It's a major factor. No matter what we say or do, majority of the people of Liberia still hold Prince Johnson to high esteem. And so they still, whatever he says, most of them still follow. When Prince Johnson decided to work with Senator Weah, the people that follow him also decided to support Weah. And we saw that 2005 and in other elections where Prince Johnson, quote unquote, they call him a kingmaker. So he still enjoys that respect from his people. And I think majority of the people from Niba are voting for George Weah stands from that as well. They also see George Weah as somebody maybe that they can trust, because he did not really participate in a lot of the things that went bad in Liberia during the war. He was also a victim. And he's not a talker to say he has said a lot of things to people that hurt their feelings. And so based on that, they look at him as somebody they can trust, based on the Prince Johnson factor.
We got a caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you're calling from, please. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Olympia, Washington. This is John Nunny.
John, welcome to the show. Your comments or analysis, please.
Pardon me?
We are discussing the Liberian elections, the election result, and if you have any comments or analysis as to why things went the way they did.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So how is it going?
We are doing wonderful.
Good. Yeah. How many people do you have right there now with you?
We are doing a live show, and there are a lot of people online watching the show, and also giving their comments as regards the elections.
Right. Okay. Well, let me give you time to talk to people then. Okay.
Thank you so much for calling in.
All right. I'll call you later again sometime in the future. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And so, as I was saying, besides the Liberia factor and Prince Johnson factor, you talk about bombing. Well, the president of Liberia did not come out, to endorse George Weah, but action speaks louder than words. And so the people of bombing, having such a respect for President Johnson Sirleaf, I think they also read between the lines and decided to give their support to Weah.
And regarding the president, we're going to have, we're going to go a little bit in depth into the impact of the president's action or inaction. We saw that the president did not openly endorse anyone, especially her vice president. And at some point, there was some sour relationship between the party chairman or the party hierarchy and the former standard bearer. So we see that, and she was being accused of even meddling in the election. So we can also talk about to what extent, what impact the president's role play in the outcome of the elections, if you can comment on that.
Well, the president of Liberia, she is the chief executive officer. She has command over a lot of the people that work for the government, people that live in Liberia. I mean, no matter what people say, she still has a base, a very strong base as well. She earns the respect of a lot of people, and they respect her decisions. And so if the president of Liberia, who is also a senior member of the Unity Party, did not come up to run the VP campaign or endorse him publicly, then there is a problem, Even if nobody explains anything, common sense will tell people there is a problem, and based on that problem, the outcome of the election, went the way it went, because even the party, we can say the party was also divided. If the president is having a groundbreaking ceremony while the VP is launching a campaign, nobody needs to tell you that there is a problem. And so people saw the problem, and then they play along the way. They voted based on that, because you can't see the head of the country not supporting somebody, and maybe you favor this head of the country, you still support her, you trust her judgment. So if she's not supporting somebody, you might be thinking, well, she is doing it for some reason, so I think I better withhold my support as well. So it plays a very important role.
And talking about that groundbreaking ceremony, the optics were very bad when it came to the relationship of the president and the vice president. So you have a groundbreaking ceremony where a senator from another county is invited, and that senator happened to be a candidate against the current vice president. So I don't know, the president tried to explain that, but it did not go down very well with a lot of people, especially people of Runoff County. And so, but I think even the Association of the Runoff citizens in the United States, they wrote a position statement on that, because the optics obviously showed that the president was not in support of the vice president, and decided to make that known. But let's look at the vice president's actions, or her response to the president's action. I don't know if that played a role in the defeat of the vice president, saying that whether the vice president openly or the party hierarchy openly went against the current president, and with that, she was able to probably work against them.
Well, we all know that the president's son was not supported at some point, and mothers and their children, nobody goes between them. So little bit of things happen that were not checked, they were not brought to a halt, and they escalated, and people divided, based on those little things that were happening that nobody cared to solve. At the end of the day, it split the party. Joseph Boakai, being a VP for 12 years, had to run his campaign on his own. And then you have the president, never endorsed anybody, while also doing her own thing. And so we got what we have. Where there is no unity, other people benefit. So despite Senator Weah being popular with the Liberian people, a lot of things happened that gave him the edge. And these are some of the things that happen within the Unity Party.
So, and let's also look at Vice President Boakai himself as a candidate. What do you think went wrong that caused his defeat? Besides George Weah being popular and a lot of people voting for him, what did the VP do wrong in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, the message he should have given, he was not giving a message until the last minute of the time. majority of us did not really know what was going on in the party. Some of the things that he explained, bad association that play a role in the sour relationship between he and the president. He withheld this information. That was very vital for Liberian people to make a decision. Or maybe other people would have looked at what happened, and based on that, they would have, felt some sympathy and work with him. But he withheld all this information to himself, and at the end of the day, it played against him. And I understand, our brothers and sisters from Lofa, they are very, very respectful. I'm part of Lofa County, so I know they are very respectful. They are not really going to disrespect a woman like that. And so maybe some of the tradition, that he went through as a young man, the upbringing, play a role in giving the kind of respect that he gave, and at the end of the day, it worked against him. And so last minute, when he explained these things, the message went well with people. They felt sympathy for him, but it was already late.
That's brilliant. If you are just joining us, you are watching Focus on Liberia, and we are discussing the Liberian elections, or the outcome of the elections in which Senator George Weah became victorious. Our phone lines are open. You can call us and be part of the discussion. We're discussing what went wrong, what went right with the candidates. And I think we have a caller on the line.
From Liberia.
Caller, your name and where you're calling from. Councillor Gonglo, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the elections, and please chime in on your analysis why things went out the way they did.
Well, I think there was a big demand for change on the part of Liberian people. They wanted change. There were several missteps by the government. Promises were made that were not fulfilled. There was high expectation of the current government from the beginning in 2006. The issue of corruption was not tackled to the satisfaction of Liberian people. And there was a clear disconnect between those who govern in the legislature and the people. And many of these people who were disconnected with their own people endorsed Ambassador Boakai. And they were not really on the ground in terms of campaigning, because they had not been connected to the people, for a long time. And we are supporters were really on the ground campaigning. They had been campaigning since 2005 and had not given up. They were all over looking for the votes. And that's one of the reasons. And the expectations are very high. It's scary for the supporters of Weah. Their feeling that all of the gaps that were not filled by this government will be filled by Weah. And that is something that has to be managed.
So,
but also the voters, majority of the voters are young, and most of the young people were actually campaigning for Ambassador Weah in a very, very committed way.
Right. Councillor, we saw that even throughout the elections that people accused George Weah of not being able to properly articulate his platform. And because of that, but yet and still, people follow him. Where did the vice president go wrong?
I don't think that the vice president going wrong. I think it's the commitment of the Weah supporters, irrespective of how much critical people were in the analysis of such failure, the failure to have a platform and to articulate a platform. They were like, we don't care what you say about Weah. In the same way that when President of, well, we don't like his comments or his attitude towards women, and the things he says, the things that he say about women, and some of the things that he has done. But we are just tired with the Washington-based politicians who want change. In a similar way, people were tired with the political class, the regular politicians, and they wanted change. And they will say to you, there's nothing you say that will change our minds. Weah is our man, and we were prepared to settle with whatever flaws people pointed out about him.
All right.
So I don't think it's a question of failure of the vice president. It's more of the expanding support base of Ambassador Weah. And it was difficult also for people for his supporters to be convinced by the things that those of us who were opposed to Weah were saying about Weah. Because back in 2005, in the second round, a lot of key politicians in this country that people looked up to supported Weah. The late legendary Bacchus Matthews, Dr. Tipute, Vani Sherman, and even the famous warlord Prince Johnson, former short-term president of Liberia and vice president to President Taylor Moses Blah. The list goes on. Very important people who, in the campaign, had been opposed to George Weah in the 2005 elections in the second round, supporting Winston Tubman, the celebrated legal scholar. All of these people who are well educated, well respected, were supporting Weah. So for them now to say that he was not qualified, confused the population, like they were inconsistent. At one point they were saying he was qualified in 2005 to lead in the second round when it was left with him, President Salih. And now, this time around, the same people were saying that he was not qualified. And so people didn't, a lot of people didn't believe them.
And that was going to be my next question, Councillor, is to what extent did that the educated class, whom people call the elite, help to elect Weah? Because the criticism that he's not educated or he's not qualified, to what extent did that anger the base to come out the way they did?
It did anger them because first, for some of them, they did not believe that the argument was genuine because of some of the reasons I'm stating. That at one point, they had all supported him, and Councilor Bromskin, Councilor Winston Tubman, have flirted with him. Winston Tubman was on his ticket one time, and then this time Winston Tubman was supporting Cummings, and so, and then Councilor Bromskin still tried to be on the same ticket with him, but with him leaving, it didn't work. So when supporters of these other candidates and some of those candidates were criticizing him on the issue of incompetence and not being qualified to lead in not having the requisite education,
Councillor,
many of the supporters didn't. Yeah.
Hold that thought, and if you can please stand by, and we'll be coming to you. We want to take another caller who's on the line. But thank you so much for your contribution. So, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo is he expressed that. So, Mrs. Momba, looking at the educated class, what the last statement he said was he was backed by a lot of these people in the previous campaign. How can they come back and say, oh no, he's no longer qualified? That's hypocritical, and that perhaps that helped to boost Weah's morale?
Well, I think the problem is a lot of the people that he's talking about were fed up with the UP, leadership. And so everybody yearning for change, no matter what could have happened, they would have still elected Weah. So it's not basically because of educated people. I mean, it could play a part, but not because the educated class went behind him. It's because some of the educated class and some of the Liberian people are all kind of fed up with the system, and they wanted to have a change. And that's why they had George Weah as the only person that they could.
Hey, Patrick, this is Bobby. I'm trying to get on the show to offer my opinion on what is in the tonight.
All right, I think we have another caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
It's about evening time here in Dallas, Texas. This is Bobby Crawford. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas. How are you guys?
Welcome, Bobby. Thanks for calling. Your comments or analysis?
Well, I don't think I want to say the VP went wrong. Were there missteps? Absolutely. Thing Liberia, Bill Liberia, and Law Liberia was excellent catchphrase. And I believe that was a phrase that should have been conveyed with some sense of urgency. But unfortunately, the message came out late. And at the time, the die had been passed already. The Liberian people have already made up their mind. But again, we have to realize that the VP was operating without the support of his friend that he had known for over 30 years when the CWA together. The president's attitude, she fragmented the party based on her personal feelings. And because of that, there was a unity party. And that, just was a perfect opportunity, that allowed George Weah and the mighty correlation that you were able to form.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. We really appreciate that. Let's go to our next caller, and we will be taking a short break, but let's have our last caller before the break.
Go ahead, caller.
All right. At this time, we are discussing the outcome of the Liberian elections on Focus on Liberia. We are broadcasting from right here in Atlanta, Georgia. At this time, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to delve more into what ahead for the new government and what the challenge is and what else went wrong, why people voted the way they did. We'll still be talking about that, and let your call keep coming. We're also on Facebook. You can drop your comments or questions on Facebook. At this time, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back. The Liberian elections. And to me, to discuss this, I have the president of the Refugee Association in the United States, Mrs. Alice Wele Moba. I also have the current president of the Liberian Association of Metropolitan Atlanta, and also a strong supporter of the vice president. Madam President, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
It's an honor being here, Mr. Ja.
Okay, we are discussing the elections, and we see that the vice president has been defeated with a very wide margin by someone who many saw as a political underdog, who did not have the many thought did not have the requisite qualification to become president. Now he's president, winning all counties except for the president's county. So, Madam President, you've been a strong supporter of Mr. Alex Cummings, who lost in the first round, and after that loss, you shifted your support to Vice President Boakai. Vice President Boakai has lost, and I know it must be a tough one.
Take the call.
So, Madam President, tell me, what happened?
Well, it's a competition. And in every competition, there has to be a winner and a loser in any competition. So, as you said before, I started up with Mr. Cummings, and I still believe in Mr. Cummings. But as a community organizer and as an advocate, I thought to just sit back, because a lot of us who went with Mr. Cummings and believe in him thought he would have been the change that Liberia really needed. But I thought it would have been unfair for me to sit on the sideline and say, you know what, I would be neutral. And I believe when your country calls, you have to answer. I also believe that, according to our Constitution, voting is a responsibility. It's a duty. It's not something that you say, I can do it here or I would do it that way. We saw that in the case of Trump here. There were people who say, oh, I don't like this woman. I don't like that. Meaning like Liberians, people who needed documentation, foreigners. And majority of them were rooting for Trump and thinking that what Trump said was going to be. As the councillor just rightfully said, we have been campaigning for literally 12 years, okay? We are from the onset has had a base 28% in the bank.
Right, and that's what I was going to go to.
Yes.
So for the vice president who maybe did not have a base, but I see that the vice president supporters were very strong and optimistic of winning this thing. So what went wrong in your view?
I mean, like I said, I came in on my own to help out as a citizen, as an advocate. That's how I came in. I think there were a lot of factors. Number one, there was friction in the organization. Chino and Chibi said when things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Okay? And you have another person than me? And when the house, if the house does not hold the child, it's almost impossible for that house to survive. So their house were already in turmoil. Okay?
All right. I think we have another caller on the line.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Can you identify yourself and where you calling from, please?
Okay. Mr. Yala, welcome to Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the outcome of the Liberian elections. And we are looking at what went wrong, what went right for the winners and the losers, why the people voted the way they did. So your comments or analysis on the election, sir. Yes, you are live, Mr. Yala. And I also understand that you come from Bapolu, a county that voted overwhelmingly, that is next to the vice president county, but went for George Weah. So I'm eagerly awaiting your analysis as to why people voted the way they did.
Well, unfortunately, let me just say, internationally, I'm not in Liberia. So, to say the truth, I wouldn't be able to put a pause on why people voted the way they did. Perhaps it could be due to the vice president's own shortcomings. It could be due to the party he belongs to. It could be due to, a number of factors that led to that. Or maybe it could even be due to the voters or electorate own lack of understanding in the process so that they voted the way they did. And all kinds of factors, that combined to lead to what we witnessed. But all in all, we all just hope that it all ends well for Liberia and all of us. I can tell you that at the onset that I wasn't a CDC supporter, but now that it has happened, all we have to do, because Liberia belongs to all of us, to make sure that it runs, the way we want to see Liberia grow and develop. This is not CDC's property or CDC's farm. So, Liberia belongs to all of us, so we just hope and we all work together to make sure that, the whole process goes the way we want Liberia to develop. So let me start there so far and hear what other people can say or have to say, then, maybe I will chime in again.
Thank you. We have in studio Mrs. Alice Bomba. Alice, you have any contribution to make to that?
Yeah, I have a comment because I hear people say we have had a base for 12 years. Well, the VP had a base for 12 years as well, and that was the Unity Party and the supporters. The problem that happened within the party fractured the party, and so the base that the VP had also got fractured. And at the end of the day, people voted because there was that unity within the party, and as a result, there was a split. So the base that the VP had also split, while Weah's base remained intact.
All right. And I want us to go to the factor that social media play in these elections. I know the last time we had Facebook, but we did not have Facebook Live. We didn't have email and WhatsApp and all that. So a huge part of this election was done on the social media. And right here in the United States, we had a lot of Facebook Live, and even our guest tonight was part of the Facebook Live. I want us to discuss the impact of that, of the presence of social media on the elections. To what extent did it help or hurt some of the candidates? And I'll start with you, President Yasendi Martin-Kweye.
So first of all, let me just add my verse to the young man online concerning the party, being fragmented and the in-house fighting. I was on the ground for a couple of days or a week or so, and I traveled through Nema County, through Bone County, and people were frustrated. People, because mind you, the VP was the incumbent. They have 12 years, out of war, trying to stabilize, and people assume that, and most of what I talked to people that said, majority of this UP-led government, the people were very arrogant, they were condescending. So from off the bat, the BP had a lot of work to do to kind of convince people. And his infight did not help him. But a lot of people were just really tired, like Councilor Gonko has said earlier. They just wanted something new. I mean, I think if you ask me, like the president-elect said today, there's no loser here, there's no winner, we all won. Now, as my sister said, it's time to move on. Right. He is the president-elect. No matter how you do the calculations, we're here. And the gentleman on the line said, Liberia belongs to all of us. I always said, no, yes, I ran a fierce campaign on the social media. And where people said it was 7% of the people on social media. That is not a true statement because I was able to communicate people with people in Vanjima, people in Grand Junction, people in Nima County, right. Monrovia. So we made an impact. You know, right. Switzerland, we made an impact.
Okay. Now it looks like we have another caller on the line. But before we go to that caller, but talk to me about, social media. Most of the time what people say was, and the same thing happened to Mr. Cummings, when we have most of the voters being in America on social media, majority of the voters in Liberia, they have no access to internet. But let's hold that, we go to our caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from. Please speak a little louder than that, your name and where you calling from.
Yes, Philadelphia.
And your name, please.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Yes, you know, I'm very looking at everything, on Facebook. But one thing I know, one thing I want to say about Liberia, what I was saying, Liberia, we had a serious problem in our country, especially in the country area, the countryside. Because right. We used to go there to visit our family, and we used to see a lot of things. And now Liberia is not developed. And what I know, living with people in Liberia is very difficult, especially with the Liberians. The literacy rate in our country is very high. And to deal with people, you have to be patient. And what I know, people were here saying all kinds of things. But what we should have done was to go back home and talk to the people one-on-one. Because when we sit here and talk to these people go there and talk to them and tell them something different. And they are confused. They are not exposed. All these problems are going on. They are hungry people. So if you go there and tell them, say, oh, this person is for you, later on someone will come back and say, this person is not good, they just listen and then they get confused. You see? So we have a serious problem back there. Those people are very confused. People have to go back right after the election. I mean, right after this now, we need to go back and really talk to the people. They need counseling. They need people to talk to them and tell them, that they are, and get them out of that positive, level. You see? Because once the country is not developed, there will be the same thing every time.
Yeah.
You see?
That's a good point. Thank you so much. Let's take our next caller.
Okay.
Thank you. And she talked about the voters not maybe understanding. I think the Liberian voters had deserve more credit that they've been given. For me personally, I don't think the voters don't understand. I think we have some of the most informed voters in the world. What do your take on that?
My take on that, I would stand with her. I would think majority of our population do not understand the weight of their vote, what it means. Again, I had an opportunity to be on the ground. People think this is a sport where you have a little tournament and thereafter somebody wins a trophy and you get ready for the next tournament, because we've been through this before. Number one, in any democracy, the voter, the people who make the decision, they have to understand the rights and responsibility, what they're voting for, where they're informed enough, where they're educated enough in respect to, making their decisions. I went to a town where a lot of people have been. And because these people have been there, made promises to them, and we are going back to make promise to them. Then thereafter, after Mr. Cummings didn't win, I called back to talk to them. They said, but you told them to vote for this person. Now you tell them to vote for this person. But the other person came here and said, I'm going to vote for this person. So really, it's just like when Prince Johnson left and went to name my candidate.
Right.
Okay?
Let's hold that. I want to bring Alice into that because I think that is one of the problems of the Liberian educated class to be, I don't want to say condescending towards the voters or think that they don't know better, and that's why they are voting the way they did. I think they understand the issue, and they are voting for where their heart is leading them. Your comments?
Well, they have their own way of understanding things, and so I would not say they don't understand. But the reason, there are other reasons besides, well, that's my vote, I love this person, and I want to be a role model, he's my role model. That's another way you can vote for somebody. But what impact 100 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, what do we get? Yeah. How does a person go out there to find resources, to talk to people, to get things that we need? How does a person represent the country? Those are things that people don't really consider when they're making their decisions. And we can't blame the people that make the decisions. We blame those that have the opportunity to educate these people and never educated them for so many years, even after the war. How many people that went through the war, those young boys that fought the war, how many of them graduated colleges or graduated high school? We might not have a lot of them. When I went to River G in 2013, I met young boys, 13 years old, 15 years old, 18 years old that should have been in school. They were crushing rocks. And I'm thinking to myself, 5 years from now, what will become of these kids? Right. You should have compulsory education because if the population is left uneducated or they don't know, I mean, I'm not trying to be condescending, but these are the facts.
Okay.
You know, we should be in sympathy with people that made decisions for our country when you look at the ages. And I'm not saying George Weah is not a good person, but basically, if you ask them during the Facebook exchanges when you all used to run the show, you ask them why you're voting for the person, you're not getting sufficient reasons.
Right. Okay.
Let me just add to her. Please, just give me 1 second. Okay. The condescension, this is a big problem that I hear that the educated class are condescending. That is not a true statement. For some of us, we're in sympathy because we were given the opportunity to be and we took advantage of it. Here is the thing. You vote for a senator or a representative and you tell them they should come and build a road for you, right? That's not the job of the representative or the senator. Right. You have to know the people you are voting for. Like my sister just said, why you're voting for them, what will be the contribution or where the roles and responsibility will be in the future. If you understand the role in which you're letting them on, then you understand the business in which
you have to know your own role as well
as a citizen. That's the problem.
Right. So civic education. Exactly. But let's go on a caller on the line, and I want us to shift a bit after the caller to talk about the challenges ahead, what we'll be looking forward to, and what will we expect from the George Weah administration. Caller, your name and where you calling from, please. We have a caller on the line. All right. Now the caller look like the caller disappeared. So let's our time is winding down. We've been here like an hour now. So let's go to the challenges because Alice, you hit on that a little bit, talking about education. So let's look ahead. The last time on the show, we had Dr. Gumpu who spoke about the economy, that the economy is in a bad state, and there is not much attention given to the economy. So with the President George Weah coming into office now, what are some of the challenges that we need to look ahead for, and what George Weah needs to do in order to meet those challenges? Your view.
Well, there are numerous challenges, and sitting down here, I'm trying to figure out what he can really do, where he's going to start from. It is not easy. This morning I read that some incentives for government officials are being cut and all that. I think that should have been done way back then. Because the president's coming in, we heard about capital flight. There are a lot of things that are happening in the country. The money is not there. So he has a huge work to do. He has a huge work to do, and he needs to put a team together to figure out how he's going to stabilize the economy. Because if the economy is not stabilized, we are up for trouble. If people cannot find food, the high hopes that they had, for which they voted him, if they find out that after months the situation is not helping, they're going to turn against him and be frustrated, whereas it's not his fault, but he will end up taking the blame, and we're going to be going back to square one.
All right. We have a caller on the line? Caller, your name and where you calling from, please.
I'm calling from Minnesota, specifically in Socrates.
Can you speak a little louder, caller?
Yeah, I'm calling from Minnesota. My name is Samuel G. Colley.
Samuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And I do appreciate this show a lot. I got on this show kind of a little late, but I've heard a little thing, and I do, appreciate the studio guests you have in here. The problem, like now you're talking about the challenges that, we are, with this or those expectations. If it comes to expectations, our expectations are very high, especially if it comes to Liberia. A lot of people would think that, it would be like in a gate of hole where, manna would drop from heaven and people just pick up food from the floor. This is not the case. But it's all about putting, mechanisms into place like job opportunities, free health care. It don't have to be free, but affordable health care. And, once you have jobs created and people got jobs to do, actually, you ain't going to have, young people moving everywhere here and there. And if you can recall, Liberians were not people that were really traveling all around the world, except when this war came. When the war came and people were kind of fighting to go other places to seek refuge. And after that, the economy just went very bad, and people kind of tried to seek pasture to other places. But Liberia is a very little, nice little country with a lot of resources. But all that matters is, the leadership, the governing party, to focus their attention, on the resources and forget about, stuff, being selfish and being mean, because
right.
We realize that most of our leaders, our representatives, senators, they get to the place that, people vote them overwhelmingly with the expectation that, they're going to make laws in the interest of the masses. But instead they go over there and they make laws in the interest of their very selves, make laws that would give them more money in their pockets. And, you listen to some of these guys, the incentives they get, their salaries and things, it's so high. It's crazy.
Right. All right. Thank you so much. I want to take a few more calls before we. And Facebook is, there are comments on Facebook. People are trying to call. And I earlier spoke about the challenges of the new government. I also want to speak about the opportunities. Because I think people have a very low expectation of the president. And so they're probably going to lower their expectation, or their expectation is going to be high. I don't know. But I think what are some of the opportunities and the challenges. Let me bring you into that, Mrs. Weah.
Well, at this point, I think he needs to assemble a team. First, look at the budget, what we have, or the economy, analyze it, see where do we go from here, meet with the House to see how the org can rally around him, because that's his colleagues. This is where he's coming from. So he knows where the mix, and he knows where, knowing what's in the country coffers. Two, there are a lot of ghost workers in Liberia. Look at those, go to the budget or budget bureau of finance, see if we can get some, we have some analytics or data analysis in this country that will volunteer to do the work. Clean up that will bring money into the country. Two, they don't need to buy any more new cars. Those who have cars, turn the cars over, let the people stand off. So the port, they have a storage at the port. The port is a means of generating funds in Liberia. Get rid of the storage, you know, and make the turnaround time very effective, maybe 24 hours to 48 hour turnaround time to be able to bring money in the country. That's one part there, but it's a huge story that can be discussed not in 5 minutes. I can just tell you that.
For those of us that are in the diaspora, I think two issues that were concerning to diaspora Liberians were absentee voting and dual citizenship. Those issues were not really brought up during the elections. So I want to see if we in the diaspora saw our vote to these candidates very cheap by not really encouraging them to give us their word on dual citizenship and absentee ballot.
But there was never a promise made.
Because we didn't ask for it. That's what I'm saying.
No, we did ask for it. We did ask for it many times.
Because diaspora Liberians campaign vehemently.
We did.
So if you are campaigning and those issues are not front and center, why still back them?
Well, for me, the candidate that I left the United States with, that I went to Liberia to support, it was going to be on the table. But in the second round, you were left with two people. One refused to speak. The other gave out his platform, and that was that. What do you do? You know, I'm just being honest.
All right. Let's go on the line. Let's talk about the diaspora issues. Absentee voting, dual citizenship. Those two issues were not front and center of the elections yet. Diaspora Liberians were all heads over heels over those candidates. Your comments?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dempster. Yeah, those two issues were the issues of diaspora Liberians most. So, but those issues were not discussed yet. We were supporting candidates who were not making those issues part of their platform. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my take on that is that one issue, especially the dual citizenship for me, should come first before the absentee voting. All right, because it's through dual citizenship that will be qualified as Liberians outside of Liberia to vote. So it cannot come up concurrently, simultaneously. So we have to firstly, firstly guarantee one or absentee one first, then which is the dual citizenship, then that will qualify us for absentee voting. But as you know, Mr. Jai, I have, my own personal reservation on dual citizenship. And,
I know that.
That's not for now, because it's something, that I need, maybe for some other time in the future, but not for tonight.
Right. All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. It looks like we lost the caller.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's and we are our time is fast spent, so we'll be winding down very shortly. We still have people calling in. So normally by this time we should know who George Weah cabinet should be. Okay. I don't know if you heard anything or who are we looking at as the possible cabinet of the new administration?
Hello?
You want me to
Yeah.
speak to that? Okay. Mostly, a lot of people from UP and some of the one like Mobile Malu, Israel Akinsaya, what's her name? There's a list that is out. But
I think that's speculation.
Yeah, I mean speculation. But at this point, it will be speculation because there's no formal document out yet. Okay. But I think we can set another time to discuss it because it's a huge, the whole electoral process. I think we have
Cecilia Coffee Brown.
Yes, Cecilia Coffee Brown.
You see why I brought that up, because most of the time when these candidates are running, normally we don't have teams. People don't build teams. And it happened to Mrs. Salif in her first term. So you get there and now you start looking for people. Yeah. And it can be very difficult. So the first time you are working with people who you have never had any working relationship before. And do we still foresee that problem reoccurring in the Weah administration?
I don't believe so. I think really he will have problem trying to fit whoever in, because there are a lot more people. Because I remember some people from UP saying the Papesa is too filled, I'm going to go on the other side. So people went. So he actually have more people that he will have enough option to be able to place people in the various places that he need to have them. And hopefully he makes the best possible choice that people that will actually perform and deliver what he needs to deliver, because there are over 700,000 children of school age that are not in school that believes in him. Half of the population, or more than half of the population, thinks he's a savior and he has to deliver. So we have to be here to support him however we can to make sure he delivers. One thing though, because when he fails, Liberia fails. Right. And if succeed, our people succeed. And some of us don't have to work as hard to support people around home. So that's just my take.
All right. And let me come to you, Mrs. Moba. The reason I bring that up is because we all work here in the United States and we are in teams. Because teamwork works. So most of the time, even though there are people, that are all over the place that want employment or want their pay for or campaigning or for voting, but have these people worked together before? Can they blend as a team? Do they have a prior working relationship that can hit the ground running? Those are some of the questions popping up in my mind.
Well, I think George Weah has been working with people. For 12 years, he had his party going, or before 12 years. And so he should by this time have an idea on who he want to put where. And it's not going to be new. It's not going to be smooth. But he should already know who all can fill the gaps. And I think he will start with the CDC. The original people that worked with him from the beginning, he will start from them, and then add some UP people that came in the picture.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I don't know if we have any other caller on the line because we're trying to wind down. Yeah, call out your name and where you're calling from, your comments or question.
Is that me, Patrick?
Yes, that's you.
Oh, again, this is Dempster, Brother John. This is Dempster again. I don't know, so were you referring to me?
Okay, just wrap up your final comments as we are concluding the broadcast.
Oh, okay. Well, based on again, I was logged off. I just logged back on. But based on what I overheard the young lady discuss just now, you and the young lady with regards to the culture of work, what will CDC be doing in terms of their plan or their mojo, when they land, when they take over, offices or so. The culture is already there for government. But Opal and his team, the CDC, have to go in there with their own, style and what you call mold of operation, so that they would inculcate that in the workers, in the staff, in the civil servants, how they want things to be done, Minister of Finance, Minister of Education, all the ministries, government agencies and whatnot. This is how we want things done. This is when you should come to work, when you should leave work. No corruption, do not take government property. All those things, they will lay them out. And if they stand by them, that's how the government will, operate. So that it will be an accountable government or not. So just in common terms or so, I just want to put it that way, that they will go in there with their own style of work, and then they will, adapt people to it, and then the government will move on smoothly.
Thank you, Mr. Yala, and thank you so much. Before we draw down the curtain, we have one more caller, Patrick. All right. Before we draw down the curtain, we have we got any comment on Facebook? Let me check. All right. So we're about to draw down the curtains. And thank you for our Facebook. Thank you for the comments. Those of you who helped George Weah to win and others who did not support, this time is all about Liberia with all hands on deck. And so one thing I would suggest to the incoming, and I don't know if you have, is I think under President Salih we have a diaspora office because there are so many professionals, even on this show, that come on this show that there are so many professionals in. So if there is a way that these and other countries are doing the same, they have this diaspora organization where they go and look and tap talents, down to people that make bread, that they can go back and use those kind of people, encourage them or have some incentives where they can go back home and work. And so as we draw down the curtains, I want to start with you, Mrs. Moba, on your final comments as we close the broadcast.
First of all, I want to say thank you to the Liberian people. I'm not going to say the election was a biscuit that broke anywhere. The Liberian people made a decision. Democracy is what we've been praying for all the years. We have freedom fighters that fought in Liberia for democracy. And we finally got majority participating. And so it's not going to be going one direction like everybody wanted all the time. Once the majority of the Liberian people elected somebody, whether you like it or not, we have to rally around George Weah. George Weah lost Liberia, and I think he will do better if we all rally around him. I think we have a president, and so we are happy.
And thank you so much, Mrs. Moba, for coming. Now we have last word from Mrs. Weah.
Yeah, actually, I'm really optimistic. I'm one of those people. I think, and I said this over and over, we as human, we're people of free will, and God gave us free will to make a decision. And then he grants us whatever we ask for. My hope at this point for the president-elect is that we all as Liberians, we come up, we've been here, we travel here. Some of us have been fighting for Joseph Boakai, we've been fighting for Cummings. Mr. Boakai has already said, congratulations, I will be here. So I believe it's time to move on. He is a father, he's a great statement, and he has made his, declare that he will be here to support. So I think it is all of us, it is our duty to go out and support, as I stated before. Don't sit back and say George Weah will fail. Because guess what? He will be responsible for 4.6 million people. So those 6.4 million people will suffer or they will perish if he fails. So we all need to come with our A game and help. As you speak to the diaspora office, and we have show here, we bring in professional Liberian, and really through this campaign, I met some of the most beautiful minds that Liberia has to offer around the world. That's not just in America, but in Europe, even in Liberia when I travel. So we need to tap into those resources like I told someone on the CDC. Don't bring in Indian people to drive a truck. Call me to Liberia, I will teach the men how to drive truck, and then I will leave free. But I'm simply seeing this now, symbolically that we are capable. Our people are capable. So let's give them an opportunity. Let's get our children off the street. Let's give them reason to live. That's my hope and that's my prayer. But we'll be here to support him. That is our job.
Thank you. Yeah. And to our viewers on Facebook, I see Michael Yasia. You've been trying to get in. You say it's too hard. We apologize. Your phone lines are busy. So, but we apologize. You can still post your comments on Facebook, and we can read them out loud. We want to thank you all for logging in. I see Wilbert Yancey, Avita Slovado, I see Simeon, Rachel Josiah, Rachel, yeah, Emmerich Nicole, Ebenezer Pratt. Thank you all and all of you for logging in and listening to this show. I see our old-time viewer, Gakon Moel, of the Liberian Young Professional. We say thank you so much for logging in, and keep your comments coming. We are here at Focus on Liberia. All we do is to focus on Liberia, promote Liberia, elevate Liberia, and educate. Okay, so if you have ideas that you can share with us or anything that can help the new government, feel free to drop us a line, focusonliberia@gmail.com. The elections are over, and George Weah has won overwhelmingly. I know there is a challenge. There were people who voted for him and those who did not, understandably so. We have the sitting vice president and also the sitting president, who has become a very key player in deciding who wins or loses. With all that, we have one country, and that's the only country we love, and that's Liberia. So no matter where we are and what we do, let's put Liberia first, and let's make sure that together we can do all we can to make Liberia be what it's supposed to be. Remembering that this is the only country we have, and in union strong, success is shown. We shall over all prevail. At this time, we will say, God bless you. And before we close the curtains, we have a program that is coming up here in the Metro Georgia over. Madam President of Lama, please go ahead.
If you're in the Georgia area tomorrow, please come out to 5660 Memorial Drive, 30083, and join us for an exit ball. It's going to be free. We just want to say thank you for 2 beautiful years of service to our community and honor some of our people who have worked diligently to serve the community. So please come out. I will look forward to seeing you to just say thank you for your support, for advocating for your community, and being a part of your community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of all of us here at Focus on Liberia, our studio manager, our guest relations manager, and our producer, we say thank you for watching. May God bless you, and Happy New Year.